My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now. Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramerica. One of my friends, I just want to try to make you some money. My job is not just to entertain, but to educate, to teach, put it in context. Call me, 1-800-743-CNBC. Tweet me at Jim Cramer. It's very hard to come up with an optimism per share number. When we talk about the averages, we don't point out that a rally was fueled by a positive view toward America or a positive view toward the world, but optimism does matter. So do a few placid days to catch your breath. They give people hope that they can get through a tough transitional moment like we're having. That's true even on an ultimately flat day like this one. Dow dipped 156 points, S&P declined 0.17%, Nasdaq inched up 0.05%. Right now, we have a stock market buoyed by the results of some individual companies, J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Citi, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo. All six big banks reported excellent numbers, some better than others, of course. Now, but these numbers were good despite a dearth of IPOs or mergers and acquisitions. That's incredible. When President Trump was elected, we figured that the banks would be big winners from deregulation. There would be a new wave of IPOs and new mergers. So far, there's been nothing like that. We have had only a few notable IPOs to speak of, in part because the stock market can't sustain it. There's just too much pessimism. Very hard to take your business public when you don't know what the future will look like. How about mergers? Right now, at this very moment, Capital One's trying to buy Discover Financial, which could offer the first meaningful competition to MasterCard and Visa. But the regulators, they just won't okay this deal. Even as Justice has said it's fine, state of play. Justice has blessed it, but the Federal Reserve and the Office of Comptroller of Currency, yeah, they got to check off on it, sure, have yet to sign off. Should all of these agencies have even the right to check off on it? And shouldn't we have a level of transparency? I don't see the difference between this and Biden's outright hostile approach to mergers. It makes no sense to me. How about deregulation? In February of 2018, the Fed decided to punish Wells Fargo by putting an extremely punitive asset cap on it that has severely constrained the company's growth. Back then, Wells Fargo was a serial lawbreaker, but since the bank got rid of everybody involved and brought in a new CEO who's cleaned everything up, the result, nothing. Nothing at all. It's been 7 years, for heaven's sake. CEO Charlie Scharf has broomed all the old leadership, but regulators just aren't budging. It's incredible that an administration committed to deregulation won't deregulate when a bank has done everything it could to clean up its act. Where is the business-friendly Trump administration that Wall Street was so excited about in November? The people voted for a choice when it came to regulation, not an echo. How about tech? It's terrific that NVIDIA is getting some love from the White House for its commitment to build AI supercomputers domestically. Oh, $500 billion worth. But why not suspend an arbitrary ruling made in the last hour of the Biden administration called the AI diffusion rule, which limited the export of AI chips to certain countries? Biden's regulators anointed 18 countries as friends. They can get as many chips as they want. But if you're not on the list, you got much more limited access. Sadly, the list is crazily capricious. It cuts off a huge number of friends for no discernible reason. We have enough enemies already. Why not ease up the restrictions so we only block our most ardent and vicious of our enemies and don't let them buy NVIDIA's best chips? There are so many countries that are our friends, including the very AI-leaning Israel and Iceland, both of which somehow didn't make it onto Biden's list of friendlies. What the heck is that about? Neither did a big chunk of EU countries. This is just needless red tape that's holding our country back as a place that dominates AI around the world. Why hasn't the White House rolled that back? Today, we're getting news that the Chinese might be halting deliveries from Boeing. The president today should have said, all right, China, you want that? You're out. You can't have our planes. Planes are hard to get, by the way. But for every other country on Earth, we should be offering them financing to buy those particular planes from Boeing through the U.S. Export-Import Bank. Great opportunity to take the initiative in the trade war and teach the Chinese a lesson that they better start learning soon. They are cutting their noses off despite the faces. Johnson & Johnson, an amazing company, reported today, trying to resolve a gigantic number of lawsuits involving talc that may have caused cervical cancer. The company had offered more than $8 billion to settle the cases. Some 83% of the plaintiffs accepted the deal, but a small group of plaintiffs convinced the judge to throw out the settlement. Now J&J is going to fight each case individually in the same old system of jackpot justice we're so used to. Very bad for a lot of victims. And JJ's now willing to settle. The administration could easily weigh in and end this plaintiff supremacy, issue an edict banning jackpot justice. Where are the capitalist instincts here? Where is the recognition that the tort bar has held drug companies hostage for ages, along with so many other industries? Isn't that the kind of deregulation that the president was talking about? It wouldn't cost the government a penny. It can't just be about China and business. But I see nothing in the White House that says the corporate defendants can defend themselves fair and square. The administration has rolled the big defendant lawyers. Hey, you know what? Why don't they roll the plaintiff's bar? I'm not a big fan of how they've approached the legal profession, but if they're going to lower the boom of lawyers, they might as well try to accomplish something useful beyond settling scores. Equal opportunity roll. What else? Does the government have nothing else to do except they keep prosecuting Meta for having too much market power? If Meta had so much darn market power, why is TikTok the Chinese TikTok? Kicking their butt, running rings around them. What's the point of hobbling this one social media that can compete with the Chinese? I don't get that waste of time. And what's the deal with this national Samsung promotion program? Is Korea more American than U.S.? Oh, I see. It doesn't matter that Apple, our best company, is being browbeaten behind the scenes for doing too much business in China. They'd be rendered totally uncompetitive against Samsung if they're forced to move too quickly. We will all be buying Samsung phones. They're going to be half the price. I get that Apple has played a game that helps China immensely, but it's also committed to spending $500 billion to build things here over the next 4 years. What did the administration want? Maybe $1 trillion? Was there a sum that mattered? Is there a schedule that Apple could follow to pull out of China in an orderly fashion? Is there anything that China could do to make it so Apple could stay? I don't know. I think the president could extract so much from China if he were just willing to make some kind of a deal like he's famous for. Instead, he settled for tariffs alone. I got to tell you, I'm going to try a Samsung phone out so I can join the forced draft migration. You want to help the oil industry and build up a shipping business? Get rid of the ridiculous Jones Act, a law that makes it so that ships that transfer things between U.S. ports have to be U.S. built, U.S. owned, and U.S. crewed. Never mind that we don't have much of a maritime industry anymore. Most kids these days don't even recognize the little hook from the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. So, of course, the oil companies use foreign crews and foreign flag ships to send our oil overseas rather than shipping it from one domestic port to another. If we got rid of the Jones Act and start making ships here, that could be a game changer. We did build a ship in 2017 in Philadelphia. All right, maybe a couple of them. Not much of a track record. Bottom line, so far this administration is endless big stick, small carrot. I like the small carrots in my salad. I don't like them when it comes to business. It has stifled the bulls. Not one of my ideas costs a fortune. As a matter of fact, they're all as free market as it gets. I never thought I'd say this to a Republican government, but hey, why don't you guys try a little capitalism here? Capitalism works much better than statism. You just got to try it. You got to give it a chance. Let's go to Jacob in Alaska. Please, Jacob.
Oh, yeah, Jim.
Booyah.
Listener, proud investment club member. I followed your thoughts on Boeing.
Big meeting tomorrow. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I followed your thought on Boeing for a while, but given everything that's unfolded recently, including today's China news, how do you see or assess Boeing's outlook over the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, I just think that if we don't respond correctly to help Boeing, instead of just picking on all the time, and the old regime did do some things wrong, then Boeing's going to be a tough stock to own. But they do have a lot of cash. They don't have great cash flow. I think it's okay. I'm picking other ways to play aerospace now because Boeing seems to just have its snake bit. What can I say? Hey, why don't we go to Brian in Virginia? Brian.
The GOAT, Jim Cramer. How's it going?
Oh, man, it's going well. How about you, Brian?
Good. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
The stock I was asking about today would be Starbucks. In the last month and a half, it's been taking a big hit.
Yeah, it has. Now, we bought some for the Charitable Trust at a great price. We let it go up. We sold some. We did not sell enough. Sometimes that happens. People think that the Chinese business is going to be written down badly if they try to sell it. I have so much faith in Brian Nichol. I am a buyer of Starbucks at $83. Tina in Florida. Tina.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Tina.
Thank you so much for being someone who is consistent and trustworthy and reliable for all of us gamers through these crazy, turbulent up and down times. I'm looking at a stock that I think might be tariff-proof. I think with companies trying to reduce costs and replace or get in some productivity tools. I'm wondering if Accenture would be a good buy for the AI tools.
Accenture got apparently the way that people are looking at Accenture is that Accenture is being hurt by the Doge crowd. And if that's the case, you can't go against Doge. I'll tell you the truth, it's better to buy Palantir, also known as Palantir by people who don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, I just like us to go all in on capitalism. It's just an idea I had. Hey, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know socialism, communism, Marxism, Trotsky, they're okay. I like capitalism. We ought to try it. Mad Money today. As Trump pushes to bring business to the states, could process and procedures delay companies from having a firm foundation here? I'm looking to throw it ahead. Then could Trump's first term give us a playbook for the market action ahead? I'm turning to the charts and give you my thoughts on the technicals. And later, how did CVS and Dollar General jump from slump to standout? Don't miss my check-in on these consumer names after the very strong start to the year. And of course, stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.